Dapper, dapper, dapper. Hello, everybody, and welcome. What's going on? That does not look like it's in the right spot because it's not leveling. Oh, okay. That's row 2. Okay, sorry. I'm tired, y'all. Been a long day. Who is here? Oh no. Yes. Okay. Yep. Okay. Okay. I'll figure it out. Love you. Bye. Let's see if this prints. Well, that's a start. Center messed up a little bit. That makes zero sense. This is so frustrating. messed up. This is so frustrating. Stop. So frustrating. I don't know what else to do at this point because it's clearly auto bed leveling. I also don't understand why. I don't understand why this isn't also homing in the right spot either. That's another concern I have at this point. Settings, about, advanced. Offset, home offset. It's gonna fucking hit this wall. There it goes. Seen that coming. What is it doing? Let's go with 8. Not even close. It's like it didn't even save it. This printer's all kinds of messed up. Hey, what's going on, Nolan? How's it going? This thing is giving me all kinds of fits today. Getting frustrating. This printer has been not pleasant, and it was working pretty good the other day, and then I screwed it up even more. So now I'm basically just resetting a bunch of stuff, going back to the original settings, trying to basically reset it to get it to print again. That's kind of where we're at today, or this evening, tonight, whatever you want to call it. It's 9:20 Eastern time on a Saturday night. Nothing else better to do besides work on a 3D printer at this point, and I'm getting frustrated. We put new firmware on it, and it's night and day difference, but since I've done the new firmware, it's caused some other issues that have never been an issue in the past until now. So, whatever. See, that home offset looks decent. Or is this thing actually not functioning now? Okay, so now it's actually looking for home. So now it is too far off the bed. I don't know why all of a sudden that this is now a problem. But I need to be like 7 millimeters back to the middle of the bed for that to be remotely close to the edge. I'm going to go 8 just to be safe. Okay, so the end stop position is the position your nozzle is where you want your home axis with the G28X or the G28Y. Option 1, press the start XY calibration button, wait till it moves home the axis and measured the distance from the middle of the nozzle to the left bed edge on the X-axis or the front bed edge on the Y-axis. Example, if your nozzle is 2.2 millimeter split past the left edge of the bed, your value is negative 2 inside the edge, then you want to set it This is a Ender 3 S1 Pro that has a textured bed, and it has a TT third-party firmware installed onto the touchscreen, which is actually just right here. So currently, I'm positioning the home. Let me move this so you guys can see. This printer has been a very love-hate relationship, and I've had it for about a year now, and it's given me nothing but problems since it was given to me. And it was given to me from somebody that just got into 3D printing and couldn't figure out how to get this one to work. So let's go 4 millimeters just to be safe. That looks good. So it's 8 millimeters in, and well, from the outside on the x-axis, and 4 millimeters on the y-axis to the back. A Spectre. I believe that's what this is called. Yes, is a Sprite. Well, no, it's a standard Ender, but don't they call that a Sprite? Isn't that the Sprite? Is that the model of it? I don't remember. But my issues are not an extruder problem. I mean, it's stock, so it's just a stock S1 Pro. It just has an aftermarket bed and aftermarket firmware. So what I'm trying to get it to do is print consistently. And the problem I was having is I was fighting auto bet. Okay, so the original issue, since I've got a couple people here, and I'll explain what's going on. I've had this printer now in my possession for like a year and a half. It was a coworker of mine that got into 3D printing. He got it for a Christmas gift a year and a half ago, or whatever, 2023 Christmas, and could not figure out how to get it to work. I told him to give it to me. I'll take a look at it, see what I can come up with, and go from there. It had smorgasbords boards of problems that I have identified and fixed most of those issues since. But the biggest problem is it would never print consistently. It would randomly print just fine, and then I could run the same file and it would be 5 millimeters off the bed. And then I could run it again and it may print, or it could be 5 millimeters back off the bed when it starts. Did it very inconsistently. And then the LCD light bar that's above it was also flickering really bad. And it had a bunch of other small issues, and the original firmware that Creality puts on these printers is flat out fucking garbage. Excuse my French, but it is flat out garbage. Absolutely hated it with a passion. So first things first, I flashed the firmware on the touchscreen and the motherboard to the newest Creality firmware, and I'm using that term loosely because that didn't fix a whole lot of the problems. It did fix some of the consistency issues, but it didn't fix some of the other problems that I was having. So I said screw it and kind of shelved it for a while, and that coworker ended up getting fired from my work, and I've lost contact from him. Don't know where he's at. Don't really care. This is now like the third or fourth printer. It kind of just sits on my workbench at this point. So I'm tired of looking at it. So I felt like actually tinkering with it, and have been spending, I don't know, probably about the last month on and off actually tinkering with it finally again. Found out it was still set to 240 volts. That should have been the first thing I should have checked. I don't know why, but the damn thing does function in 240 volts, even though it was plugged into even though it's plugged into a 110 outlet. Makes no sense. Whatever. But that fixed the flashing light problem because it acted like a voltage issue. So it makes sense that it was set, the power supply was set on the wrong switch. I didn't think to check it because I thought the guy was smart enough to realize when it has a sticker on it that says, do not remove until you set this to 110. Clearly, I just assumed that he did it. That's my fault. The firmware update to the new Creality fixed, like I said, some of the issues that I was having with the inconsistencies. But the other issue that I noticed is the default settings for Kira does not have the auto bed leveling feature enabled. So that took me a while to figure out. And then I finally got it to print relatively consistent once I figured out how to add the G-code to enable the auto bed leveling system. Then I decided to say screw Creality, and then I threw a third-party firmware onto the motherboard and the touchpad. Like you said, you're on Clipper. I'm still on Marlin software, but I'm running by TT third-party software. This is an S1 Pro, yes. So, for example, if you know anything about the S1 Pro, if I go back to the touchscreen, and then, like, I'm going to go back to the home page. So here's what the home page looks like. This is not anything like the standard firmware that comes with the S1 Pro. This is 1,000 times better of a user interface. It allows me to do a lot more features that I've been looking that my my Solvo SV01 allows me to do. I absolutely despise this printer in a stock format. It is the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for, waste of like $500 that he paid for this thing. It is flat junk. So, yeah, this is a third-party firmware that I put on it. That's why it does not look anything like what you're used to seeing. So, for example, like if I want to do bed leveling, so let me go to settings, let me go to level. So there's what the level looks like now. And then if I want to do advanced leveling, I can do advanced leveling. And then I can do individual sections, and I can actually level this out into a lot more sections, and then instead of just the standard crap that Creality puts on it. Because again, you can't see value. So if I want to see a value for 1, I can go to 1, and then I can actually see where it's actually set at, and then I can manually manipulate it. So again, flat out garbage. This is 1,000 times better of a firmware. The problem is it still doesn't fix some of the issues that I have with it, which is now the auto bed leveling system doesn't seem to want to function correctly. Again, even though I can get a mesh, I cannot fix these stupid corners to be relatively close to 0. Like, they're not bad now. I'm nitpicking, but it's really cool to be able to see it. The problem is the freaking slicing software doesn't recognize what this printer's trying to do, which is where my frustration comes into play. So I've turned on auto bed leveling again, and I'm using a slicer called Orca Slicer, and I've absolutely fell in love with this. This is also something else that I've done. Yeah, this mesh it's not bad. The problem is every time it comes to like this corner, it doesn't stick. That's where my issues are. Or there's a high spot right there in the center. That's that .030. It does not like to stick there for some reason either. and this is a brand new bed. This bed's like, I don't know, a week old now. So I can't. I believe the firmware is not correctly loading this mesh. Is the slicer's not loading or calling to load the mesh, even though I have the G code enabled. Just for shits and giggles, I'll show you. So here's Orca Slicer. So if I go into the nozzle or into the Creality profile that I have set, and I go to the G code, I have it actually creating an entire new mesh, and it saves a mesh and then retrieves and uses the last saved mesh. Yeah, if your mesh is 0.3, I mean, you can definitely get that a lot better. So you're saying just simply use a thicker first layer. I mean, I can try that. I would have never thought about that. So first layer is currently at 0.42 millimeters. You should be able, you should be able to get that a lot close, a lot more dialed in than anything like 1.6. If you should be able to get them all in like the 0 dot, like dot 0 something. From my experience with this printer. So what are you suggesting? Change the first layer to 0.5? Because again, this is default. All of this is default settings with this particular slicer. And I will not go back to Cura. Do not tell me to go back to Cura. No. I refuse to. Absolutely refuse to. Actually, that might be my problem. I didn't realize it was printing in 0.12 resolution. I could probably change it to 0.2. 0.4 nozzle is what I currently have in it. That's pretty much all I ever run. Just a standard brass 0.4 nozzle. My Z offset currently is at negative negative 2.53. But I use the paper test to set the Z offset. I mean, I don't have a problem raising the first layer or turning the resolution up. I really don't want to mess with the resolution because I'm trying to do the calibration test that it also has. Okay, I'll go make the first layer a little thicker. So let's go and do it as point, I don't know, but linear width to the initial layer. If expressed as a percentage, it will compute over the nozzle diameter. I think 0.5 would be a major swing. It does, but not for first layer problems. I would agree. That's a trick question, Spectre, because I don't know. It doesn't print consistently enough to know if it's truly a first layer or a bed adhesion issue, because it keeps happening all over the place. And I keep chasing it. So, for example, if you look on my screen, the first time I printed this, the middle one messed up. The last time I did it, the bottom one, left corner, messed up. So you're saying do 0.2 for first layer. Yeah, first layer height is 0.2. So you're saying raise that to 0.2 what? 25? I mean, I'll raise it to 0.25. We'll see what happens. I am running shitty ass, probably 2.5-year-old PLA, CC3D PLA to be exact, that I've had and have abused and did not take care of it, but it's also in a filament dryer, and it's currently sitting at 15% humidity at 50 degrees Celsius. And it's been in there all day. But this filament's also 2.5 years old. I'm sure the filament is some of the problem, but to argue that it's not the issue, I'm going to show you. Let me swap screens. That is a file that I printed on this printer the other day. Yeah, it has some issues. Oh, you guys can't see. There you go. So, this is a Pokemon card box holder. That's all it is. But if you look, you see the waviness down at the bottom? I was over extruding this. So that's what caused me to go down this rabbit hole, was I wanted to fix it. So instead of fixing the settings of the old software, I decided to start basically all over with a whole different firmware. But like, this is the bed adhesion. That looks fantastic. You can't, like, I don't blame the bed. I don't think the bed's the problem. Like, that looks amazing. So, and this is the same blue filament that's currently in it, which is why I don't think the filament's the problem, because I printed like 4 of these now. So, okay, let me save this file, because the only thing I haven't figured out with the slicers yet is how to print via USB. I think it prints via Octoprint, which means I need an Octoprint server, and I have not set up my Octoprint server on this printer yet, so I'm doing this the old-fashioned way. It's not the first layer. It's the second layer is usually when it starts getting wavy, which is why I think it was a over-extrusion issue, because I turned the extrusion up based on the configuration test of what this printer or this slicing software was suggesting that it be. .47 seconds now. 16.4. Let me delete that one. And I'm going to delete that one. Okay. There we go. Like, I'm not, like, arguing. I'm just letting you know where I'm coming from my point of view on what all I've done. Because I've gone down the rabbit hole with this stupid printer. And it's about to end up going up for sale for $100. Just because I have 2 other printers. I don't need another one. What in the world are you calling a cold pull? Excuse my language, but I don't know what that is. What is the extrusion width? Stock. Haven't changed it. So if you want to know what the extrusion currently is set to, I think that's actually in the PLA settings. If you're wanting to know what the flow rate is, it's 0.98, which is the stock settings. That's the number that this represents as an extrusion number. It's just the stock settings for the PLA for this particular slicing software so far. So I also told it to do an auto bed level every time that it prints, because I got tired of chasing the these issues. So again, it's going to build in a whole new mesh. Let's see if I can get you guys in a little closer. A cold pull is a way to clean out your hot end with filament. No, I've never done that. That's the first I've heard of it. Ignore my ignorance, but I didn't know that was a thing. But from my experience, it's not a clogged nozzle. Everything that I know points to Z offset issues and this auto bed leveling crap not functioning correctly. Is what my issues come down to. In my experience, I could be incorrect. I've been printing 3D stuff now for 4 years, so that kind of gives you an idea of where I come from with the background. My original printer is a Creality CR10. And then my main printer that I print is a Solvol SV01. And that is my workhorse. This is a very comparable to the SV01 when it comes to the features that it offers. I just like the simplicity of the non-touchscreen and the click button and wheels and all that stuff. So you melt the filament by pushing the filament into the hot end at 240 degrees Celsius. Keep pushing, then turn the heater off. Keep pushing till the hot end is at about 80 degrees, then pull the filament out. My CR10 was a workhorse. It made me thousands of dollars, and it did not ask for a single replacement part. I still have it. It is currently in a enclosure that is used to grow plants in, because it's the printer that lives out in my garage, which is currently where I'm at now. That is not heated. It is heated by like a little ceramic heater type thing. So when it gets super cold, I can zip it up and the temps stay nice and warm. But it's the printer that I ran my business for the longest time. I love my CR10. It was also my first printer. I haven't used it in probably over a year, and actually it will probably get sold too, just because it's collecting dust at this point. Because I am getting a desktop CNC router probably next week, and that's going to take its place. I plan on cutting carbon fiber and aluminum. That's my next adventure for my RC business that I'm creating, or I should say, growing. Okay, so it just finished the bed mesh for this printer, and now it's going to start printing this test file, which is just a standard bed level test. The E-steps, honestly, I don't know. I never looked at it. I haven't even made it that far in the calibration testing. So it's whatever the defaults are for this printer. Or let me rephrase it. Whatever the default is for this Orca slicer. It didn't fix my stupid. I hate this printer sometimes. Didn't save the stupid home position, and it prints. It primes off of the edge of the bed. The dumbest thing I've ever seen. See? Yes, this printer does come with a standard. That's the standard direct drive. Nothing mechanically, nothing has changed with this printer. It is stock board. Nothing's changed. The only thing I changed was the bed, and then I'm running a different firmware on it because I don't like Reality. So far, that actually looks pretty good. Well, I'll see when it gets down to this bottom corner. This has been my nemesis, is this little corner down here. But judging by that, it looks good. So we're going to find out. I did save it, yes. And the center boogered up just a little bit. Where you want to go? I mean, I can go up, down, left, right. I can go whichever direction you want. So if you want to see more, I can probably. This is probably a better angle. But there's the center I was talking about. I also can move you to the webcam if you want to see the webcam. So if you might be new. So if you want to see, you might like that angle too. I don't know. Let me know which angle you like better. Actually, let me fix that first. Most people prefer the SLR angle, which is this angle. Just let me know which angle you want, and then I can move the camera whichever way you want to know. See, like that looks like garbage. And I'm going to go with it's too close to the bed. Even though the auto bed level should be compensating for it. So you can see just how bad that is. Let me zoom up. You can see what I'm talking about. There you go. No, I cannot put it all the way up there. This arm does not reach up there. It's on a boom. The digital SLR is on a microphone boom arm, so it's stuck. I can baby step it, but it's not that's the issue. It's not going to fix the problem because if I raise If I raise it to fix the center, then the outside corners are not going to print right, because then it's going to be too high off the bed, because the auto bed leveling is not functioning correctly. That's where my whole issue is with this whole printer. It's like going down this rabbit hole of weirdness that I don't understand why it's doing what it's doing. I can fix this. I can manually manipulate this bed and I will make it print, and I'll just turn off the auto bed leveling. I'll go back to doing it the old-fashioned way if I have to. That's how I got it to print before. But I'm trying to get it so that the auto bed works correctly. And I've never been able to get this auto bed leveler to actually function the way it's supposed to. And that's where it gets so frustrating. The rest of this print doesn't look terrible. The back corner looks okay. The back left looks fine. The center's too low. The front right looks okay. The front left is too low. So, I mean, I can stop this printer and I can manually level this bed close enough that it'll print. And I can use the paper trick, and I guarantee you it'll print just fine. And I won't do the auto bed leveling system, and I'll disable it, and it'll function. It should be. I haven't cleaned it. I've cleaned it twice, and the last time I cleaned it was like 2 days ago, yesterday maybe. I don't remember. But yeah, you want to see the webcam? Sure. It's on a fixed location. I can't move it. The only thing I can do is rotate it like towards the front and the back of the camera, towards the front and back of the printer. It's attached to the y-axis arm, basically. And I've got it on a timer, so it'll rotate between these two cameras automatically. If I wasn't here, I could hit a script and it'll rotate between them. So like there, just pop the center off. So I gotta stop this print. So, stop. But I don't have 99% isopropyl alcohol. I only have 91, and every time I use it, it seems like it makes things worse, not better. So, that's from my experience. But I also used to use hairspray, and I know it and alcohol don't mix very well. So, let me zoom out, and I'm going to show you. I'll pull this bed off, and actually, like, bring it to you so you can see what I'm talking about. Besides, this thing is hot. So, let me focus this. So, bottom right corner. Doesn't look bad. Looks pretty solid, if you want my opinion. Again, I'm not going for extrusion. I'm going for... this was printed at 60. 220 for temp, which is high for PLA, but that's the stock settings that this software recommends for PLA for some reason, and 60 is the bed. So, bottom right corner looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. If that whole print looks like that, you wouldn't hear me complain. Bottom left, you can see it's a little wavy. To me, that's too close to the bed. I guarantee that's what that is. Top left. Top left looks great. Have no complaints. Top right. Come on, focus. It don't look bad either. I've never tried Windex. And that's the center. The center's too close to the bed. So, if I fix this, how I would fix it is turn off auto bed leveling and just go back to manually leveling the bed with a piece of paper like I've always done. And I guarantee you I can get this to print. And that's where my frustration is with this printer. I always do the piece of paper trick. So, first question you're probably going to ask is check the Z offset. So let's go down that rabbit hole. So let's go to leveling. And then manual level, go to center section, which is number 1, and piece of paper trick feels just fine to me. But according to that print says it's too low. But I can scoot this thing all day long, no problem. Like, actually, if anything, it's too high. Like, there's barely a drag on there. So that Z offset's not an issue, in my opinion. I think it's the auto bed leveler messing up the values, and it's making it lower than it actually needs to be. Like, this is barely dragging. I would lower that if this was me doing it the old paper trick. So that's the Z offset currently. You know what? Let's go down this rabbit hole. So let's fix this the way that I would, which is starting with the center. And let's lower this down. So remember, it was at 254 before. And I would say right there's where I would be at. It's a brand new bed. I didn't check it for warpage because it's also removable. I mean, and I'm not saying that the bed's wrong, but the problem is I had the same issues with the stock bed that it came with. Here's an example. This is the stock bed that it came with. I had nothing but bed adhesion issues, so that's why you see glue on here. But that's a print that I left on here after printing it. You're saying the actual bed itself. No, I've never checked the actual bed underneath it, but it shouldn't. I wouldn't imagine that. Let me think here. I can't imagine that that's the problem because it's not. With it being on the magnetic, it's got the cushion between the bed and the actual frame that supports it, and then it's all adjustable with the springs underneath it anyway. I mean, I guess that's a possibility, but wouldn't my high spots and low spots not be in the same spot every time? So, for example, if I threw this bed on here, and it ironically had the exact same spot that was a high spot, then I would say, yes, you're correct. But this printer bed always gave me different spots of an issue than what this texture bed is giving me now. Riddle me that one, Batman. This has been on here so long I can't even get it off now. Because of glue. This is one of my files that I print and sell. But I can't even get this. I can't even get this off now, without breaking. Yeah, I don't care. That's not the point. I just absolutely hated that bed, so that's why I went this route. So I'm gonna go. You know what? I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna turn off. I'm gonna do this the old-fashioned way. That feels good to me. So I'm gonna level this bed to the center Z-axis. So I'm going to go to 6, which is this spot over here underneath this wheel, and that is way too tight, which tells me it's too high. So I need to lower this down. That's pretty close there. And then let's go to 7, which is this corner. That's pretty close, which also is why that corner didn't give me any issues printing. But I'm going to lower it just a tick. Wrong way. That looks pretty good. So let's go to 9. That's about perfect. Let's go to 8. And that's honestly really good too, which explains why that corner was good. So now this bed is level according to the center. This is the old way of leveling a bed. Without an auto leveler, like this is how I would level any 3D printer. I was turning the thumb wheel underneath it, which is changing the bed location. So in theory, if I turn off the auto bed leveler, this should print. Which is what I'm going to do, just to prove my theory. So, let me move you back to this screen. We're going to leave this file alone, but I'm going to change my settings to a stock create a new printer, Creality, oh that's also why. So start is what I say it was, 8 millimeters, and I think it was 8 and 7. I don't remember what the stock size is. I don't really care. It's kind of irrelevant. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, come on. Ender 3 S1 is what we're going to go with. Generic PLA. That's all I'm going to load for the time being. Actually, we'll do PET, TPU, and ABS. That's the only stuff I ever plan on ever printing. So let's create a new printer. Why did that not create? You need to select at least one post preset. Create. My CR10 is absolutely, yes, it is all stock. This one does have wheels underneath it, and yes, everything seems pretty kosher. An object is laid over the boundary of the plate. Did I put this... Oh, I think I put the wrong dimensions. This thing is supposed to be -8, not +8. Whatever. So we're going to load the same file back into this. Actually, we'll just move it. That's fine. I don't care about that error. Okay. Not changing anything. It is the first version, yes. First version of the CR10. Actually, no. CR10S. Sorry. It's the CR10S. It's, yeah, I absolutely love that printer. Stock settings. Not changing anything. So, created a whole new profile. Nothing should be changing. Let's go ahead. So let's slice it. And then I want to look at, to make sure the G code still does not reflect auto bed leveling. So I do not see auto bed leveling being enabled anywhere on here. But I do want to change this to 190. Yeah, the rest of that looks fine. So no auto bed leveling at this point. That's all I was looking at, is just to make sure that auto bed leveling was not turned on. So slice it, export it. I'm going to delete this file because I don't want it, so I don't get it confused. We're going to save the new one. 16, that's fine. So now we're going to load this into the printer. By the way, thanks for the subscription. Let's go back to print and enter bed leveling, print. So keep in mind, it is not going to do anything to do with the auto bed leveling system at this point. It is just going to print based on the manual bed leveling that I just did, like the old-fashioned way. And then we're going to see if this prints. I guarantee you it does. Yes, it is 10 o'clock at night. And we also lose an hour tonight, by the way. Daylight savings is in 2 hours. Yay. Fuck my life. I hate daylight savings. Printer's warming up. And it's going to home axis. It's actually, I mean, it's up to temp now, so it's working its way to where it needs to. It's priming, and it's priming off the bed like it always has. Yeah, I think auto daylight savings, it's 2 or 3. I'm Eastern time zone. What is this printing? Because this is not the same file that I just loaded. And now it's all boogered up. It's too close to the bed. But I can fix this, because if I do this and lower this down all 4 corners while it's printing, let's see if I can actually fix this. And this is typically how I'll get a printer to work. So I'll grab it, yank it off, and kind of start fresh. That way it doesn't mess with it. So that corner's still boogery. This side's still messed up. Yeah, like it. Yeah. Ugh. Starting at 3:15 in the morning, that's brutal. This thing's all messed up now. Stop. I'm going down a rabbit hole I don't need to be going down, and I'm making it worse, not better. Basically, is what this has come down to. Yeah, I can only imagine, man. If you had to be at work at 3:15 and you realized it was 10:10, that's that's a world of hurting. That's what I did. Is no, the center is the highest point. So I always start with the center and then work my way around the four edges based on the center location because in theory the center is a fixed height. You can't change the center location. You can only change these four spots. The front two and the back two. The center is on the wheels. That's on the track. That's a fixed height. So that should never change in theory. If you take everything out of the picture, take these knobs out, take the springs off, take everything apart, and if you just had the four locations of the bed, so if you had just the four locations in the bed with the two wheels on them, or on the four wheels on it, that height should never change in theory. This should never change. The only thing that's going to change is your four corners because of these four springs and the four thumb wheels. Correct. So you always bring your corners to the same height as your center. But again, this auto bed leveling system fucks with the manual leveling that I just did. Because what happens is every time this thing goes to print, it resets the freaking Z offset. And because this printer doesn't have a Y-axis stop switch, you cannot manually set the height and it stay at a fixed height every time. It could, this stupid thing could come out here and do this stupid drop 10 times and it'll give me 10 different numbers. I've tested it. It does not give me the same number twice. Which is why this printer does not print consistently, which is why I hate this printer. Because it's not built like a standard traditional printer. And a lot of it is linked to, I believe, this auto leveler. I don't have a straight edge big enough. I'm thinking if I even have anything that might work. I have smaller levels, but I don't think I have a big enough level to cover this whole bed. Do I have something else that might work? I probably do. I just don't know off the top of my head what I can use. I'm thinking. Give me a minute. I got so much shit in this garage, I guarantee I've got something. Oh, a piece of carbon fiber might work. What did I do with it? Did I throw it away? Where are my chassis? Okay, hold on. Because I know carbon fiber is going to be flat. Where did I put it? I don't know. Don't remember. That's a problem. It's actually a big problem because carbon fiber was not cheap. There we go. Like, I mean, I'm talking like full blown, like, I've got my own business that I sell dirt oval converted cars. So I have chassis galore, actually. So if you want to see the world's most expensive straight edge, there you go. Got one. So you want to know if this is level. Apparently it doesn't like the cold. That's weird. This whole box, by the way, this whole box is full of carbon fiber parts. Okay. Quick guess. No, it is not level. The center's high. Has to be. Because if I push down on this edge, this corner is high. I can see for sure. And then same way this way. And now, that's saying if this is still level. It's carbon fiber. I'm going to trust this before I trust this. This is a $150 chassis. That's a $10 piece of metal. You get my point. But definitely, it's got some play in it. So, let me focus. So if I push down right here on this end, this is the edge. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just putting enough weight off of it. You can see how much this is rocking. Look at for under light. Turn the knob out screws until I don't see light. I don't think that it's going to fix the problem, though. I really don't. Because I could sit here and crank on these things all day long, and I don't think I'm going to get this out of here. Well, wait a minute. You might be onto something. That's a lot better than it was. Okay, let's go this way now. That's terrible. So now if I go this way, still bad. You might be onto something, though. Maybe this thing was just so cranked down that it was bending. And twisting. I don't think this is going to get it high enough. Like, right, this thing is so out of whack. But that now no longer has play, but now this is all boogered up. Okay, raise that up. That's messed up again. Okay, this is... I'm really going down a rabbit hole. I'm just going to... you know what? I'm going to run these till they're all flush by the naked eye from the set screw underneath these thumb wheels. That looks close. I can't see that back one. Okay, that's close. This chassis is, yes, this is a B6 conversion kit. So that is for a transmission housing for a buggy or truck. They use the same transmission housing. Here you go. Since you're curious into the RC stuff. This is the car that you're looking at. This is the chassis. This is the car. So and here's what the car actually looks like. That's one of them. And then the other one I make is a sprint car. And that is also why I'm getting a desktop carbon fiber or a CNC router table, is to cut carbon fiber and aluminum so I can expand my business and make more of this. And do it in-house because my labor is cheap. Paying somebody else to cut it, it's not. And then here is the sprint car. Very similar chassis. Like the setup, like this, if I can get this thing's ginormous, but to give you an idea of size comparison between the two, very similar, but so the back is the same, like in the same spot, but the front is a lot shorter. So that's the difference. But that's pretty much what I do YouTube videos. Yes, but I also don't plan on cutting it while I'm inside watching it. So I also will probably be getting a water bed and cutting it in water too. Those are shorty lipo packs, yes. 2S. So I found a company that does sell a water bath kit to cut carbon fiber in. So I'm going to try to retrofit the Shapico 5 Pro to fit that bed. I'm hoping I can get it to fit that way, and that will solve all of my dust issues with carbon fiber. But if not, like I said, this is in my garage, so worst case, I'm just not out here when it cuts. So I also know it's extremely dirty, it's dusty, and it has major hazards. I'm not a huge nitro fan. I've done it. Nitro now is so expensive, it's not worth doing. A gallon of nitro is like $60. So, and lipos are so good that it's really hard to argue. You're talking 8-scale stuff. Like nitro buggies, sure, they have their place. I get it. But like you guys are here, so I'll show you. So here's all the cars I have. So a Lozi LMT. That is a Mud Boss, which is a Traxxas Slash turned into a dirt oval car. Uh-oh. My mount just broke. Hold on. My messy garage. Can't see it, but that is a truck. That is a... I'm trying to remember the name. It's an axial... 10.2 crawler that I'm converting into a pull truck. So that is a one-off build that I'm building currently. Oh, I just broke my mount again. Hold on. So that's what that is. That is a VTA, but it is a touring car by Associated. Yeah, SCX 10.2 is what that is. That is a Team Associated touring car. I want to say it's a TC 6.2. I don't remember. But it's a VTA on-road car. Audio's quiet? You're the first person to complain, Bob. And I'm usually pretty loud, so I apologize. Can somebody confirm that I'm actually low? Or is it just Bob? Because I'm watching my audio and it's up there. That is a short course 10 Pro short course 10, so Team Associated short course 10. That is a B. Are you all saying that my audio is quiet? Okay, that's why I was questioning Bob, is because usually my audio is not low. That's one thing I take pride, is because I'm running a standalone microphone, which is right here. Got a whole a whole audio setup behind it, I've got good equipment, so usually audio is not an issue. Team Associated B6.4 that's turned into a street stock, so that is an oval conversion stock chassis. That is the sprint car in the midget, and then I have a 48-inch 30cc gas boat and a 44 or 46-inch boat. You can see the yellow there. That there's two big boats up there that fit that. So the other boat is just a haul. This one is a project. It does run, but no, those are not Traxxas. Those are custom built stuff. Like, there ain't nothing Traxxas about that. The only Traxxas things I do have a Traxxas. You can't see my other boats, but I do have a Traxxas Millennium Nitro boat. That is the world's biggest piece of crap. I got it at like a garage sale for like $10, and I completely restored it on video, I think. Painted it gray. Kind of fun little project. Then I have Traxxas Slash Raptor Edition over there on the. I'm pointing like way over here, and I'm not showing you that way because it's a disaster. It's my storage unit basically. And I got two smaller boats over there that are electric as well. And then there's a B6.1 factory light floating around over there somewhere. That's my stepson's. Yeah. That's a little bit of everything. Oh, and if you want to see, I'll grab the boat down. If you can glance at it real fast. Give me a second. Like I said, this thing is ginormous. There you go. So a lot of this stuff don't go in here. So like those don't go in there. This is the radio box that I'm working on for it. So that's the motor. Carb setup. It's going to be direct drive. And then this radio is going to mount back here. I've got a cap for it, makes it all waterproof. But big ginormous, basically stinger pipe. This thing is loud as all get out. Ow. And then there's your hardware for the back. Oh, there's the other boat. You might be able to see it. So that's a catamaran. This is a V-boat. V-hull. And to give you reference, this is a 4x8 sheet of pegboard that I cut 2 feet off the top to make it 6 foot tall. So that's 4 feet by 6 feet is what this board is. And this is on wheels, so I can move this around when I want to move it. So it's kind of a false wall. My laundry room and stuff's behind it, and then refrigerator and deep freeze and storage for food and a bunch of stuff's back there. So that's what I said. It's a functioning garage. Okay. I just messed this all up, so let's start with auto leveling this, and we're going to start with the Z-axis using the paper. Oh. All your buggies and stuff are at your brother's house. I wanted to get into metal detecting, and I honestly don't know what's stopping me, because I think I would enjoy it, and I know the kid would too, especially the youngest. Manual, go to the center. This is probably going to bury it. It did. Actually, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, 2.5, that don't feel terrible. What is this catching on? Is it plastic? Yeah, it was catching on the plastic. That's not bad. That, on the other hand, is terrible. And I can't change it on the screen, because then it's going to change the Z offset for the center, which means I have to do this manually with the wheel. So in this case, I need to go... I think I need to go up with it. Yeah. That's better. I don't have sheet metal. Metal fabrication is one thing I've never done. Well, let me rephrase it. I have a welder, but that don't mean I know what I'm doing with it. Actually, I own 2 welders. And the funny part is I can probably get a piece of metal. My father-in-law is a pipe fitter foreman for a rather large contract company in this area, so I could ask him, hey, get me a 1 by 10 inch piece of like angle iron or something. He'd probably get it for me. Okay, why did this corner not come up? That is weird. Oh, you saying pull the bed off and actually just do it straight on the steel sheet, on the steel piece. So you're saying take the bed off and the magnetic base off. You know what? hate you guys sometimes. You make a very valid point, and I know you've said it in the past, so I apologize for not listening. Let me figure out how to turn the stepper motors off. I gotta remember where it is because it's hidden. Ready? There we go. Move this out of the way. I don't think I've ever peeled. I can't imagine that that's the problem. I have another one. That's why I'm not afraid to peel this off. Yes, I have a. I can peel this off. I have another one. It's right here. I'm just wondering if it's underneath this. Is my point. I'm wondering if the bed issue is something between the actual frame and the magnetic base that's double-sided stucky to this plate. Or you are saying, do I have another one of these? And the answer is no. I only bought one. But this is also really thin. So it wouldn't take much to. I mean, I could bend this anyway, and it's supposed to be bent. I'm like you're supposed to be able to bend this. So oh, does my CR10 use a steel sheet or glass? It's a glass bed. But who says it's level? And my Sovo SVO1 is also glass. No. Well, wait a minute. Which one? My CR10? The S. Yes, this has dual Z motor axis. Yes. Actually, all three of mine do, now that I think about it. And before you say it's not level, that's incorrect because my issues don't translate from one side to the other. Like, it's not a consistent that the left side or the right side is low. I know where you're hinting with that question. That's why I'm rebuttaling your answer before you type it. I figured that's what you were going to ask. That so most it's pretty common that if you're running dual axis or dual Z axis like most of these, if they get out of canter, the whole left side won't print. So in this case, my issue is it's always this front corner is too high and the center's too high with that bed, the metal bed. This one I don't remember because it's been 2 weeks now since I printed anything on it. I don't remember where it was. And I can't really, I mean, I could rotate it, the bed around, I could rotate this around and see if it chases it by flipping it backwards. I mean, it's not ideal, but I could try that and see if it moves. But I'm not doing that tonight. I'm going to go to bed, actually. It's 10:45. I'm getting sleepy. I've been at this on and off all day since about 8:30 this morning. So yeah, standard Ender 3s don't have dual Zs. That's another reason why I buy with dual Zs, is you get a lot more consistency of a print. Direct drive is a huge bonus. Dual Z is probably just as important in my opinion on a printer, especially if you try to do anything fast and you want to get really fast consistent prints. The dual Z stepper motors is huge for keeping things consistent and level at the same time. So if I had to buy a new one, I'd probably buy a Bamboo Labs. Honestly. Bamboo makes some really, really, really amazing printers. I know a lot of people that use Purza as well, and they have no problems or minimal problems with theirs as well. A buddy of mine that's a robotics engineer is the one that got me to start using the Solvo SV01s. He swears by them and loves them, and I can vouch that it is probably, it's almost as cheap as the Enders, but it's so much better of a printer. So much better. They don't even make it anymore, I don't believe. The Solvos now only carries like dual extruder models, and they've gone kind of crazy with some of their builds. They no longer have an entry level like single extruder printers, which whatever. I don't care. I would love to have a dual extruder printer at some point. Oh, I mean, I've never looked at their business practices or their mottos, and you're probably right. So I'll take your word on it. Sure. Yeah, I'm way past my bedtime. Okay, guys, I'm going to bed. It's 10:45. I'm usually in bed by 8:30 every night, so this is already getting late for me as it is. Just because I get up pretty early. I'm up by like 6 in the morning almost every morning for work. So, I will pick this up tomorrow at some point. I just don't know what time I'll be on. I'm trying to think. The wife wants to sleep in, so I probably might swing over here by 9 a.m. Maybe. It depends what time I get up. So I may just wake up and come out here and dick around. So, and usually I'm streaming. I'll be online while I'm tinkering with this piece of shit. So, okay. Adios, guys. Good night. Thanks, Spectre, for the help on identifying that I have a fucked up bed. It's definitely not level. We'll go from there. That's all we can do at this point. Adios, everyone. Good night. I'll see you all tomorrow.